Hey everybody, it is the Goose, and kind of waited a few weeks to do the whole, unfiltered Devil's Canyon. Kind of talk about what was out there, what really happened. It all really happened. Make no mistake about that. But kind of what wasn't shown. The little things that didn't make the show. Didn't actually, that kind of left people guessing. Why did he do that? Or who knows? I mean, if you followed the Discovery Facebook page that I had, man, there was just hate and vitriol or vitriol, or however you say it. I'm not a smart guy, but it was, there were so many people that had these ideas in their heads that, oh, he had a camera crew. Oh, he had this. Oh, he had that. Oh, he was sleeping at night in a frickin' hotel. He was over at the Fairmont Express. No. Make no mistake whatsoever. None. I was out there 6.5 weeks. I actually think it was like 42 days. Completely alone. And I think in my last video I kind of talked about was, I had a safety crew, but they were 60 miles away. Yeah. So I was literally alone. It's not like Naked and Afraid where you have a film crew sitting right there watching everything you do with a, field trauma nurse or doctor watching everything. No, I was alone, completely. Did I have a way to communicate? Yes, you have to. If you don't understand what the word liability means, get educated. Do you think for a half a second that the Discovery Channel is going to put somebody out there with no way to communicate, no way to be tracked, anything like that? No. No one ever will. Even that show alone, those guys are getting checkups every 4 or 5 days. Hey, so was I. Everyone has emergency transponders. Can you imagine what would happen if somebody died on a Discovery Channel, History Channel, Spike, whatever TV channel show? Could you imagine the backlash? All your survival shows would be done. All the cool stuff us outdoors guys like to watch, done. Over. Because somebody's family would be suing for bajillions of dollars. Oh, hang on real quick. Yeah, remember I work nights. It's about 7 o'clock in the morning, something like that. But for me, it's 7 p.m. So I just kind of want to cover, I got everything right here that helps keep me on track so this doesn't turn into a 40-minute video. But how did it all start? Where did Devil's Canyon even begin? Believe it or not, Instagram. That's where it started for me, anyways. And that's another thing. I will not be commenting on Ben's stuff. I will not be commenting on John's stuff. I will only be commenting on what I went through, how I dealt with it. I will not speculate, hypothesize, or question anything that Ben or John did. Both those guys are beasts when it comes to the outdoors. So me commenting on them, no, not going to happen. Not only that, Ben's like one of my best buddies. So I've been in the bush with him before. I mean, I've been up into Canada mining his claims. He is no joke. He's somebody you can learn from. So it all started with Instagram for me. A lot of you already know I have a YouTube channel that I did all my gold mining on. I was also Instagramming a lot of stuff about, when I was here, there, all over the place, trying to find a good deposit of gold. Basically just searching for all I was worth, along with all the shenanigans and beer drinking. But one day I woke up and there was a message in my Instagram from a guy that will remain nameless at this point, just because I haven't checked with him to see if it was okay. Hey, can I talk about you? But he'll remain nameless at this point, but he has the credits in the show. And he just said, hey, I'm a producer for a major cable network. Would you be interested in doing a gold show? Well, considering that I had done everything I could, not but 2 or 3 months before, with a different company trying to get on with the Dakota Boys. I was, I can't remember the name of that show. I watched a couple episodes, then we ended up not having cable, so I only got 1 or 2 episodes of Fred and his son. And I made it till the very end of that casting process. I mean, and if you've never dealt with TV before, you have no idea what it takes to try and get picked up on a show. It's a mess. You're trying to run a family, you're trying to run work, and there's like, send us this, send us that, send us this, send us that, Skype interview, Skype interview, Skype interview, Skype interview. Hey, it has to be silent while we do this, do that, do this. It's a nightmare. It really is to get picked up on one of these shows. Especially when you're juggling family and, just life in general. But I really, really wanted to be, I was, Fred and Dustin Hurt, the Dakota Boys. Fly. I really wanted to do that, man. I wanted it so bad I could taste it. But, hey, came down to it, I wasn't picked. And then a couple weeks later, all of a sudden this thing shows up in my Instagram inbox of, hey, I'm a producer for a major cable network. You want to do this? And I literally looked at my wife and I'm all, look at this shit. And she kind of laughed a little bit. And, we joked, hey, gold's the big thing on TV right now. And she said, she looked at me and she goes, it's up to you. You can call him back, you can text him, you can do whatever. So I went to work the next day. And at the time I was a hospital security guard. And this wasn't regular hospital security like most people know. I mean, we were tasers, gas, OC spray, body armor. It was a serious gig. And I remember sitting there and I was on my way to a call and I went, you know what? I'm going to message this guy and say, hey, here's my phone number. If you're serious about this, call me. Sure enough, I'm going to an absolute shit show of a call. I mean, the psych patient going crazy. And of course, he decides to call me right then. Right before I make entry into the room. And he's like, my God, what do you do for a living? And I told him. And he goes, well, be safe. Call me back when you're done. Which I did. And that's where it all started. Few months later, next thing you know, I'm talking to producers, this, that, and the other, and then bam, 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 one thing right after another. And that's the thing with TV. Nothing. Oh my God, everything's on fire. Let's go. Yeah, that's pretty much how it works. And next thing you know, I'm sitting out in the middle of north central British Columbia going, oh my God, what have I got myself into? So that's basically how it all started. When I got up there, we spent a few days learning how to use the cameras, learning how to set up wide angle, tight shots, things like that. These are the things that nobody talks about, nobody says, but it's the reality. And I remember as a joke, the showrunner or producer for the show actually told us one day, he goes, listen, if you're out there and things go south and you die, please do it on camera. Can you imagine the ratings? I know he was joking, but at the same time, I don't think he was. But, all right. So, let's brass tacks. Let's get down to it. It was a 20-ish kilometer hike in to my location. I carried everything on my back. If you watch the show, that backpack I was wearing, it was the largest one I could find. It was actually a Marine Corps issue backpack. They rate backpacks by liters. This was 120 liters plus a top half. And then I was carrying a front pack that was loaded full of high calorie top ramen. Why did I choose top ramen? Everybody's all, oh my God, you should have used MREs. You should have done this. Well, all right. Stop. MREs are heavy. Heavy. Okay. Here's what I was betting on. Small game, which I was allowed to hunt. I was not allowed to hunt big game, deer, moose, anything like that. Here's why. I am a non-resident alien in Canada. Per Canadian law, I have to have a hunting guide. Not going to happen in a survival show. So I was relegated to fishing and small game, grouse. Yeah. I'll get to that in a minute. But so the hike in, I'm carrying at a minimum 130 pounds on my back with my tent, my clothes, absolute necessities, everything else, plus probably another 20, 30 pounds of just dry, high calorie top ramen with a few Mountain House meals wrapped up in there. I was hoping for that small game, the grouse. Where I came from in Washington, grouse are dumber than a box of rocks. Yeah, I mean, crap. You could throw a rock at one and kill one because they just stand there and stare at you. Here's what I learned about Canadian grouse. Not stupid. They will look at you, laugh, run away. They don't sit still. Even when they hit the trees to roost, forget it. I mean, it was a nightmare. But I'll come back to that around episode 2 or 3. Fishing. once I'd make the hike in, all right, fishing was off the books. It was, there was nothing. I had hit post fish run. When I first arrived in the canyon, I could see fish carcasses. That meant it was all over. Fish run was done. And I was like, you gotta be freaking kidding me. All right. So, anyways, let's get back to the start. So, the initial hike in, we actually drove to a certain point that we could make it in, about 20 kilometers. Loaded up. Camera crew followed me in. I want to say it was the first 15K. They wouldn't speak to me, wouldn't talk to me. The producer was there. Yeah, they were shooting what I don't know if they'd call it B-roll, but holy crap. You know, I was working off of a map I had seen twice and just moving in that general direction. If it meant coming up to a big giant bog, I went through it. I mean, I was up to my waist in just stinky, nasty water. I crossed a couple of creeks. I mean, it was cold. It was nasty. But when I hit the ridge of the canyon, that's when the camera crew, the producer, everyone went, deuces, have fun. And that's when stuff got real. That's when it all sinks in that you're alone. Completely alone. These guys, your camera crew, everything else, they're gone. Completely, peace out, see you later. You're on your own. Get this in a better spot there. It was a little nerve-wracking, but I knew I had a mission to complete. My time in the military, just my mindset, everything is on mission completion. And that's what I had to do. I had to get out there. I had to complete the mission. So I kind of ignored the being alone part for about the first 6 hours. But this is kind of when I started my note taking. You know, the hike in, pack weight, going through the bogs, everything else, hitting the edge of the canyon. Now, once I started down that canyon, I wasn't even halfway down it. And things got weird. Your mind starts playing games with you because you know you're alone. You're hyper aware of everything that goes on around you. Everything. I mean, little twigs snapping, birds chirping, squirrels chirping, everything. And even in the show, about halfway down that canyon, you can see me stop and freeze. A bunch of twigs had snapped all at once. And my biggest fear is bears. I hunt them. I mean, I even had a 45-70 with specially loaded buffalo bore ammo. But bears are one of those things. I hunt them, but when I go out to hunt them, I do it alone. Because I want it to be me versus the bear. But when I hunt bear, I am very strategic about what I do. I plan way ahead. This was a different game. I was hunting gold, not bears. And Man, that first oh shit moment when I thought I heard a bear moving, that's when reality kind of came crashing down on me. But turned out not seeing anything, and continued all the way down to the edge of the river in the canyon. And that is where a lot of my planning, in the Marine Corps, you have plans, but the saying is no plan survives first contact with the enemy. Yeah, that's 100% true, because that's how I kind of treated this, is planning in hunting gold, and getting out with minimal contact with animals, everything else. You have an idea in your head, but when things actually happen, forget it. But I hit the base of the canyon, fish carcasses everywhere. Fish run was over. That's when I realized it. Bear scrapes everywhere. Even in the show, I pointed out some bear poop. What they didn't show in there was some secondary video I got of a huge pile of scat that was loaded with roundworms. And when you're dealing with bears that are loaded with worms, you're dealing with sick bears. Sick bears are a problem. Sick bears, they don't give a shit. They get hungry, they don't give a crap. They come after whatever they want. So there was a whole lot of fear going in that first day. A lot of people bitch, moan, complain, just, oh my God, why did he do that? Why did he do that? My first campsite, I picked that spot. Not picked it, but when I actually showed up in there and could survey my area, I chose that spot for one reason alone. It was out of the woods, away from the bears. I at least had a delay factor before I could hear something coming through. Did I know it was on a floodplain? Yes. Did I know it was going to cause an issue? Yes. But I did not want to deal with bears. I did not at all. So that's why I chose that first spot. Hindsight's always 20/20. That was the worst spot I could have picked. I mean, it was torrential downpours, rain, everything, you name it. And we'll get to it, I want to say, around episode 2, but that site didn't pan out, literally. Fire. A lot of people bitch, moan, complain. Why didn't you have a torch? Why didn't you have lighters? I came out there to do survival. I did not come out there. Yeah, I could have brought lighters. I could have brought fireproof matches. I coulda, woulda, shoulda. No, I was out there to play the survival game. And that's what I brought. Yeah, could I have brought... Crap, I could have brought a butane torch, flamethrower, as long as I could carry it in. But the first 4 days sucked. No fire. Everything was soaking wet. It was a bitch. It was miserable. It was demoralizing. You can't even imagine what was going through my head out there. I was having a hard time finding gold. Test pans were shit. At the same time, it's freezing outside. It's you can't even wrap your head around it till you've done it. Completely alone. I mean, even looking back at maps, I think I was 60 miles away from where the safety crew was at. But there's no way you can wrap your head around in that first few days what I dealt with out there unless you've actually done it. I starved. I fished, couldn't catch nothing. Small game, nowhere to be seen. Freezing cold. It was a nightmare, and I was living it. But we're gonna wrap this one up right now. That's essentially episode 1. That's where everything kind of finished up, wrapped up. I'll go back, watch episode 2, and that's where the big first bear encounter happens. And we will just go from there. If you have any questions, put them down in the comments, and I'll see if I can answer them.